Hey everybody, welcome to GuitarsOK. I'm your host Mac, and I do have a special episode for you guys today. I'm looking forward to this episode. This is Walrus Audio. We have Colt Westbrook, who is the president. So Colt, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I feel welcome. That's great.
I love it, man. So Colt, tell everybody. Let's just start off with the basics, like where they can get a hold of your company, how to find your company, and what type of products you sell. Just give a little infomercial for a minute, man.
Yeah, no, so Walrus is a group of engineers, designers, marketers, production, fulfillment, all that stuff. Uh, Pedal enthusiasts here in Oklahoma City, and we design and manufacture mostly guitar pedals, and then some utility equipment for pedal boards and things like that. We do that here in Oklahoma City. And we are the best guitar pedal company in Northwest Oklahoma City, south of the Kilpatrick Turnpike.
Yeah, you got some
And I
stiff
have to say
competition
that
out there.
I have to say that because Keeley
Yep.
used to be in Edmond, and then he moved just south of the city line, like literally like 3 blocks south of the Edmond, Oklahoma City line. And then Old Blood Noise moved from Norman up to South Oklahoma City. So we used to say like we're the best guitar pedal company in Oklahoma City, but now we've got two other really great guitar pedal companies in our municipality, and so we're one of three over here. So
Well, I just traded a pedal the other day. I'm like everybody,
yeah,
right? I met a guy at a gas station, an older guy, and
yep,
so I traded
done
up,
this.
man. I traded up, man. I went from a Keeley Mag Echo to an audio or Walrus Audio Monument.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the
So
V2 or the V1, what'd you
the
get?
V1 is the bigger box.
Oh yeah,
It's on my board over
got one of
here,
those over
but
here.
yeah.
Yeah,
And so I
that's
traded up,
awesome,
buddy.
man.
I went from Keeley to Walrus.
I don't know, Keely, this stuff is awesome, dude.
I know.
We're all trying to figure out, crack the code with whatever Keely's done.
If I get back into acoustic, I have the four knob compressor. So as that pedal show says, compressors are what the overdrive of clean. So, I'd pull
Dude.
that back out for my clean set and all that. But anyway, so it's not about my guitar today. We're going to talk about you, Colt. So I've watched
Yeah.
a lot of your interviews and stuff, and you're always talking about the company. So what's the website before we start asking questions about you? What's the best
I
place?
think it's walrusaudio.com. If you just Google it, it's I think that's the domain we have from GoDaddy.
Do you have a reverb
So
store, all that kind of stuff?
we don't have a reverb store. You can shop online, or you can get it at like Sweetwater, or you know,
Come on, man, make a
bana-
plug. It's your company.
bananas that large. Listen, I'm not. If you're wanting me to come on and sell, you got the
That's
wrong
funny. I'm
guy.
just kidding. It's all right. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding. I'm just
I
messing
just
with you. People can also
you just
find the
find it
links.
somewhere.
I'll post it right
Yeah.
here. People can get the links in the show notes. You'll be good. So Colt, let's talk for a second. Why is it named Walrus? Like, what's the deal with
That's it.
that?
Listen, I'm glad you asked. It's a bad story. It's a short story. So I came on about 2 years after Walrus was already going, and then it had been named Walrus, and the guy, the initial investor early on in Walrus had some other companies, like one was called Mammoth Electronics, and so there's a long Oklahoma music instruments history there. That all really started with Keeley, which is funny. But Mammoth Electronics, he just had an affinity for tusked animals, I guess, and so there was a lot of the subsidiaries were like tusked animal names, and Walrus was one of those, and so that really is the story. And we've tried to like get together, like, can we think of a better story? But just asking that question is just the mask over that is how can we lie? And so it doesn't feel good to lie. And so that's the story,
That's my
and that's the
story. I'm
end of it.
sticking to it.
Yeah, that is the end of the story. So
It's not
people are
bad.
super
But what
disappointed.
about the logo design? Is that like something you guys came up with after you took over the company, or is that already
So
something
no,
there?
a friend of mine, his name's Chris Castro, and he's a graphic designer here in Oklahoma City, and he's actually done a lot. Ironically, he not ironically. Coincidentally, excuse me, need to watch more Seinfeld,
There you go.
uh, or Frasier.
Fraser, yeah,
But
Fraser.
the he also did the monument art, the one that is
Ah,
on your board. So
it's
yeah,
cool with the
Chris
wolf or
has a
something.
Chris has a really cool. He's just got a cool way about him. Very simple, like simple but exciting. That's his kind of his niche,
You can
whatever.
almost use that for Walrus Audio though, right? Because your pedal designs are, well, I guess some people would say they're complicated because you do have a lot going on, but they are
Yeah,
exciting. They're exciting.
yeah. We want it to like the term we use is look as good as it sounds, and so we want it to look pretty great and sound really great. So pedal boards are a fashion statement, also. So you know,
Yeah,
got to make
I
it look
dig it.
clean.
I like having the story behind the pedals. You know what I mean? I'm one of those guys. I think everybody's got a story. I think when we use our creativity that's been given to us, our talents, and we put that into something, especially if you're making a product that's going to be used and then later put out there, you're taking your creativity, putting it out there, right? People are using it, making other things. Why not have a story behind it? So you're naming these pedals, you're kind of giving them a little, what I call ambience to them, a little flavor to it, besides just here's a delay,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
That was, in 2011 when everything started. That was very different. It's not that different now. But back in 2011, I think, Earthquaker was doing some of that. Before we were, they were naming things, like Dispatch Master and
I have
Bid
one of those.
Commander, and it's like, what is that about? And JHS kind of had Josh had his way, start in the late aughts. Um, and so Walrus, we wanted to come along, and I grew up just buying stuff like that was just named, it had like the effect type and then some variant after, like the distortionator, the fuzzinator. It's like, listen, can we do something different than that? And so yeah, Walrus, you know I've always been intrigued by creative, strange, off-color marketing. Um, like perfume commercials or just stuff that's like that creates this kind of mystery and this clubbiness about it. Uh, and so that's really where Walrus's origins
Cool.
started. And so yeah.
I like it a lot. Now, with Colt, being as how you're in this position now, let's rewind a little bit and figure out something real quick. Were you in a musical household or something? Like, what drew you into this eventually? Like, did you grow up in a musical household, playing instruments and churches and
Mm,
bands? What did you do, man?
no, I not a big musical household. My dad said he was in a band, but I didn't believe him. So I never heard
Sounds
him
like my
play
kids.
anything. He's like, yeah, I played banjo in a band, and I was like, I don't think you did, but nice try. Uh, and I can say that because he's since passed, and I can say all the crap I want about him now. Um, but no, but so what did happen is, uh, I grew up in the church, and a guy in my youth group when I was in sixth grade, he was a senior, and he played guitar for FCA, and he had like gorgeous girlfriends. And so in my mind, it was like, so to date beautiful women, you have to play the guitar. And so I was like, I have to play the guitar. And I was like, and I like guitar, At that age, I was like, I like guitar music. I got a Third Eye Blind album.
I was gonna say
Give
this
me a
must be
guitar.
90s, right? Must be
Yeah,
90s. Okay.
yeah. And so he actually gave me guitar lessons. And then I was like, I actually kind of like this. This is pretty cool. Um, and then, dude, our music pastor was like a guitar virtuoso. His name was James Doolin, and he uh and his son is Jameson Doolin, and he plays a lot for like Ghost Ship or Cam Huxford and all that stuff from the Mars Hill era of bands and things like that. But and so me and this guy were in these lessons together, and it was $10. and it was an hour of jazz, and then it was an hour of jam. So it was like 2 hour lessons for like 5 years. And I
Awesome.
didn't really realize the like what a gift that was until I went off to college and started playing with people. And I was like, oh cool. I learned some stuff that I can use. This is great, you know? Uh and so that really started it. And then, I had bands in high school and we were just not that good, you know.
Rocking it
I
out.
remember, I remember, I remember getting like half the high school to come to my show, and they all paid $5 to get into the door, and we played, and we only had 4 songs, and so we're like, all right, thank you for coming, and it was like an 18-minute set, and they're like, is that it? They're like, yeah, that's it. Those are the only songs we have. Like,
EP.
play something else. I was like, well, all we have is like, I mean, it's just like worship songs, you know. Are you want me to play? You want to play Better Is One Day, or what's up? Uh, so, but yeah, and I was in bands in college, and they were a little bit more sophisticated,
At
but
least they
yeah,
weren't paying
that's
you to
how.
stop playing like they do me. No, just kidding.
Yep, and all that stuff's on Spotify, and it's just accruing streams now. I mean, you
Bringing
know,
in the money, all the high
eight. Some
revenue.
are getting like 8 a month. Some are getting 3 a month.
I'll
It's
post the
just
links down below.
we're talking wild success here. My most successful musical project is actually it's called The Night Nights, and it's a lullaby album that me and my wife and sister-in-law made. And it is on Spotify, and it is the one thing that keeps on going. So lullaby music for kids is
It's like when Kenny
where
Loggins, I
it's
grew
at.
up in the 70s and 80s. I'm dating myself, but I grew up in Kenny Loggins, Messina, and Loggins with Footloose and Loggins Top Gun songs. And then the 90s hit, and I buy the new Loggin album, and it's Winnie the Pooh. And it's
Yeah,
Pooh's
dude.
Corner. I'm like, what is this?
Dude, Logan settled down, dude. He's settled,
I
dude.
was
That's
like,
so lame.
we need another Top Gun movie. Bring him back. Oh wait, that happened.
Come
Anyways, and they
on.
didn't use his. They didn't use it. Well, did they? They used it, I think, at the beginning. Anyway, we're getting off track. So let's talk about some gear for a second. You were attracted to the guitar. Did you play piano or anything like that, or are you just a
Just
guitar
no,
guy?
just guitar. I
Okay.
played I played rough piano. Like, my wife's an actual uh pianist, and so she says I don't play piano, and I would say I don't either. I played a Ben Queller song live once when I was playing with this girl. Uh but that's the only time I've ever played piano live, and it was bad.
So what
So
kind of
yeah.
guitars are we talking, man? When you were doing this rocking out stuff, and as you progress along, were you going from like acoustics, electrics? Were you just using like off
Oh,
brands, Strat
yeah, I mean,
styles?
dude, I was poor, so we're like, I don't
Yeah.
know, just like whatever I had. I had like I still have my favorite acoustic guitar. It's a Yamaha
Mm-hmm.
uh CJ 818, and you can get
Okay.
on Reverb. You can acquire one for about $450. But it's like one of the best. It sounds so alive. It's very dynamic, and I don't know. I'm a big Yamaha fan. A lot of people like take a dump on Yamaha because they make 4x4s and motorcycles. And it's like, well, hey, it's a pretty big corporation. It's not the same guy designing the motorcycles as the guitars. So they're
So
two
you think.
different
So
people.
you think.
No, they're different.
The
Uh,
pianos, they have Yamaha pianos and stuff
yeah,
that
yeah,
are really
yeah.
good.
No, I'm a big Yamaha fan all around. And then I had an Ibanez AR 200 as an electric for a long time. I started playing uh, just like in the chapel band, and that was the first time I was playing uh, electric guitar. And this guy asked me, and so I had a big muff, and I had like heard about delay, you know, and I was like, because like U2 kind of sounds like the delay stuff, and uh, but I heard like a lot of worship guitarists like to use delay, and so I borrowed a dude on my dorm a Line 6 Echo Park, and so I showed up with a big muff and an Echo Park, and
Nice.
uh, and that was and that uh, that drug led to the DL4, and and after that it was over. I remember playing a gig once where I had 3 DL4s
Nice,
at one
stacked.
time.
I love it.
I
Turn
had
on.
one for vocal,
Oh,
and
gosh.
then I had one to do like the loops, and
Yeah.
then I'd loop something, and then I used the other DL4 for a delay. And I'm sure there's a way that you could do it with one, but it didn't in college. It didn't look as cool as having 3. So
Three's the way
yeah,
to go,
that
man. You
was
just let it rock, man. Let it go, buddy.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so what kind
But
of amps were you using and stuff too? Throw that in the mix here while we're talking. Were you not
I had
having your own amp?
it was a, I played for a long time with a PV 112 something. I don't remember. So some solid state, and it was kind of spanky. You know, it wasn't bad. And dude, I went to track my first album with my band in Enid at Watershed Studios with Barry, and we I brought the PV in, to track my parts. And he's like, "That's cool, man." He's like, "You like the sound of that?" I was like, "I love the sound of this amp. It's awesome. Super clear. It's great. Responsive. You can't talk me out of it." He's like, "That's cool." He's like, "Let's track your parts with the amp, and then I want you to plug into my Mesa half stack here, dual rectifier." And I was like, "All right, we
Ooh.
can try it." So I checked my parts, and he's like, "All right, I'll plug it into my amp and we'll see how it sounds." And he plugged it into his amp. And I was like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude. My bad. I was wrong. You're right."
Yeah, you're like,
Uh,
whoa, what's this?
yeah. So then I met so Charlie Hall was I was, you know, in some circles with him, not circles, but like I was working the merchandise table at his events and things like
So the
that.
like passion days and all that kind of stuff back then and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
Charlie would pay me $20 to sell CDs at his merch table, and I just like it was worth it just to get like 20 minutes with Charlie and get like wisdom and all that kind of stuff.
Soak it in.
Um, yeah. And through that, they were playing these things called Stulse amps. They were red.
Hmm.
Um, and if you just get on Reverb, you type in Stulse amp, they come up. Um, and the guy building them was in Edmond. And
Oh,
so I was like, "I want to buy one of these amps." And so I went to his house and tried him out. It ends up he's like my age. We're like the same age. He's 19, 20 years old. And I was like, "This is crazy." So it started a friendship. And then fast forward to now, I hired Jason Stulse to basically head up the entire engineering side of Walrus Audio. And so now we've been working together for 10 years. So um, that
he's
was
on
my
that pedal
first.
show with you, right? That's the guy that was on that pedal
Yep, that's
show.
him. Yep, yep, that's him. So my first real amp was a Stulse SA10, and I have to space it out saying SA10 because if I say it too fast, it sounds like Satan. So, which
That's
we all
funny.
learn marketing as we go.
Yeah,
So
that's funny, man. All right,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah,
have these guitars and you're kind of playing around, you're out and about, and I see this little progression here, right? Now you're starting to get in, meeting these people. It's kind of cool how when you look back on it, how it all starts to just like traject out, you know? And
yeah.
so now you're getting into some more things here. And where's the gap between this, where you're talking about Charlie Hall days and meeting all these guys and now coming into Walrus? How long between those?
Oh, very long.
Really?
Um,
Okay.
I so I went to school and I
Mhm.
went to college and got a business degree. And I just in high school I was like, I like business. It's like Wild West, but with money. It's cool. And I didn't know anything. I don't know what I'm talking about. I showed up to my first day of economics in college, and I was like, I'm excited to learn what the word economy means. I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know anything. I was so dumb, and still am in a lot of ways. But uh, that led me into a career at Chesapeake Energy. And so I was actually at Chesapeake Energy here in Oklahoma City for about 7 years as a business analyst. And Um, and it was, dude, it was hard, and there was a lot of death that happened there. Um, but dude, it was also awesome. It was the heydays of just Aubrey McClendon, and he was blowing things up, man. And so it was like the party place to be for a long time, and it was pretty fun. I made a lot of friends. Um, but then all good things must come to an end, and uh, I was trying to start up this other music industry business and using the guy that owned Mammoth and Walrus Audio at the time, doesn't own anymore. But for like kind of some research and development, we built a relationship through that. And then Brady Smith, who is the owner and founder of Old Blood Noise, was actually running Walrus Audio in 2014. And so he left Walrus to go start Old Blood Noise, and then which kind of left a vacancy open at Walrus, which this guy needed somebody stupid enough to come in and run the company. And so I was dumb enough and just kind of tired of the Fortune 100 corporate life. And that's not a bad thing. It's a great
Just wasn't for you,
degree. Yeah, it was for a while. I learned a
right? That's
lot.
okay. You change in
Um,
seasons, right?
man, I learned a lot. But it was time to just do something else. And so came to Walrus. There's 3 people here. It's a lot of bugs, like actual bugs in the office. It was gross.
Oh
There's one
gosh.
toilet, there's a
Yeah.
onesie. We all had to share the can.
So you have how many employees right now?
It was about 30 people
Really?
that
Is
work
that
here.
many? Because I think when you
Yeah.
were on that pedal show, you had like 13 or something a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
I believe when I
That
was
was probably,
watching.
that
4
was,
years?
yeah, that was 20, I think it was 2018. That
Yeah,
was,
oh, so it's that long ago. Okay, I wasn't sure.
might have
All
been.
right, so yeah, right. So now you've grown. So you're about 30, right? And I think there's been some moving and shuffling around even in buildings, maybe, or you're in a different area, or maybe your offices.
We're like in the same area,
Yeah,
here in kind of Northwest Oklahoma City, same business. We keep adding on, uh, you know, departments and things like that, but taking over space here.
nice. So here's the thing now, when you come into Walrus and you're already looking at what they're doing, did you really have a vision, or did that, like when you first came in, or did it kind of just grow as you were working through the company? Did things just kind of grow?
I knew I wanted to. Um, there was a lot of good things going on, but I also knew I wanted to bring like design back in house, and I wanted to bring production back in house, and so those 2 things weren't happening at Walrus at the time. And so Jason was a key part of that because I'm not an electrical engineer. Um, and Jason was a key part of that, of bringing production and design back in house. And then on the other side, you know, like I just was excited to get scrappy in the retailer market. Uh, if you're not Boss, EHX, or MXR, like
MXR, yeah.
you gotta freaking fight it out. If you're not one of the mainstays, um, dealers have limited budgets and open to buy dollars. And after those 3, it's like it kind of goes to who they know and who they like. Um, and so I was like, well, I'm going to be everyone's favorite brand and everyone's favorite vendor. And I'm going to die on that hill. And so we really just kind of built a career here out of like what I call like executive customer service.
Hmm,
And so
nice.
we're providing livelihoods and products with good gross margin to guitar shops, big and small, um, to to provide for their livelihoods and their passions. And so, me running the business side, Jason running the product side for the most part. That's kind of where we took it. And then, I still, you know, have a lot of pull and influence into the naming and the art direction and the functional design over those things. We have a product team here. It's about 8 people.
Oh, nice. Cool.
And really together we kind of all just kind of map out um, the next couple of years and where we're going and what we're doing and all that stuff.
I'll get in the ideas, think tank, all that kind of stuff, bouncing stuff
Yeah.
off. Yeah. I've been a part of
Yep.
research and development. I used to do drafting back in the day and mechanical
Cool.
drafting. Yeah. So I worked for GM Motors and all stuff under Delphi and all that stuff.
Oh,
And
big
it kind
boy,
of,
the big boy job. That's
yeah,
cool,
yeah. But
man.
then you get niched into like designing compressors and they say, we want one quiet. So you make it thick. So it's quiet. And then they say, scratch that. It's too heavy in the car. So now we go thin. They're like, it's too loud. Scratch it. And after a couple of years, they never make any of it. And you're like, well, I got paid for like years of everything getting thrown out. So,
Yeah.
anyways, so I've been
Isn't that
around
funny
some
how
of
it works
them.
sometimes?
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
so let's see. So you've traveled around then a little bit, right? With the company. Is that fair enough to say?
Yeah. Yeah. I've
Traveled around.
been
So
on the
what's,
road.
yeah, what kind of like countries have you been in like for the company? We've been in just North America, UK, where have you been?
My most of my time is spent if I'm going international, most of it is over in Europe.
Hmm.
Uh, Jason has been over to China before, and
Okay.
then we have another sales guy who's just can run circles around me about sales, but he is the one that goes to Japan and Asia Pacific and all that kind of stuff. But I mainly focus in if I'm traveling, I go to Germany, the UK. Last year we went to Milan and a couple of places in France. Went to Lyon and Nice
There you
and
go.
uh, yeah, all that stuff. It was great, and we have distribution over there, and so the distributors kind of map out and plan out where we go whenever we go there, and they're so awesome. I love working with them. They're good. They become really good friends, and business relationships. You got to like sit down and eat dinner with people. You're like,
And hang out,
so
play guitar. I'm just
you
kidding.
got kids? Me too.
That's why you make
But these
it like an event. You go do something, right?
Yeah, these are
Yeah.
great people actually. I like traveling with them and
So what's one
so
place
that's
that surprised you that you've been at where you traveled and you said, wow, I didn't really know I'd like this place. And it kind of stuck
Nice,
out. Where?
Nice,
There
France.
you go. What stood
Uh,
out?
I so listen, and this is me. Like I love America, big America fan.
Got
Uh,
flags. Me too, buddy.
there you go. Yeah, every time I'm hanging out with our distributors, I'm always been like, this is okay, but like America is still better. It smells better, the food is better, the people are nicer. I'm always like selling America everywhere I go. Uh and so, but man, I went to Nice and these people it's on the beach, it's on the Mediterranean, and
Sounds
these
terrible already.
people 3 times a year
Yeah.
they go up to the mountains and they import like thousands of tons of cobblestones and kind of like what we would Oklahoma we call river rock. You go to Lowe's and you get river rock, and
I
it's
have it
the
in my
same thing.
backyard around my tree.
See,
Yeah.
now you know. It's great for blowing the yard because they don't move and it's great.
Yeah.
But it's like river rock, and they cover the entire beach out into the water with river rock
What?
for like a 15-mile span. So when you go on the beach, there's no sand. There's no sand.
What?
And so I went out there and I went on a run, and then I just like took my shoes off, went down into the water, and then I went back to my hotel and no sand. I was like, this is such a good idea.
That's
Now,
insane.
that area in the city is run by white collar crime and criminals, and so there's disadvantages to that, but the cobblestones I think are an advantage. And I was like, well,
That's
if they're giving us
crazy.
cobblestones on the beach, let them keep killing people. It's great, not a big deal to me.
I'm
I
from
don't know where
Niagara
they
Falls,
are.
New York, outside Niagara Falls, New York, in a dairy farm community. My wife and I, Niagara Falls in the 70s, 80s was all like mafia and stuff. And some of my friends in
Yeah,
churches, their father were in prison, mafia crime lords. And it's like, okay, I don't know. Guess, anyways, but that stuff happens. I'm not here to change
yeah.
everybody. I can only
um
handle what's in front of
so
me.
I think my other favorite place to go is Fort Wayne, Indiana.
What? That sounds so
Yeah,
strange. All right, you got to talk about it for a
dude,
second. Why?
I love it.
Why?
So that's where Sweetwater is. So Sweetwater
Oh,
is, yeah, it's a, Sweetwater is a $1.5 billion company, which is insane. And and it's all online. They have a store there, in Fort Wayne, but it's like no one's going to the store except for the manufacturers that, well, that's not true. People travel and go to the store. Um, and so like when you show up to the airport, the airport is like 8 gates and super small, and you go and get your rental car. Like, where you headed? You're here for business? It's like, yeah, I'm here for business. And they usually say, like, you here for Sweetwater? It's like, yeah, I'm here for Sweetwater. They're like, Sweetwater. They're like, the Google of Fort Wayne. Welcome to Fort Wayne. Have fun at the Google of Fort Wayne, Sweetwater. Um, and dude, Fort Wayne, like the weather is awesome, the food is good. I always stay downtown, and it's like, it's one of those northern states, so everything's laid out really well. There's like running trails all along their river, the St. Mary, and I really enjoy my time when I go to Fort Wayne.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, I love going to Fort. I'm going in 3 weeks.
You need a
So,
videographer? Let me know. I'll meet you there. That's
yeah, sure, sounds
free
good.
of charge. I'll just meet you there.
Uh,
It sounds like I need to go, man. I want to go there.
yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm a big Fort Wayne fan.
I'm
So
big in Fort Wayne. No, just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, no, I'm not.
Kidding. Yeah. I
That's
saw
the
the
reason
interview.
that I
You
said it
sat
earlier.
down with that fella, I think from Sweetwater. He's kind of a bigger dude. He's like got that voice, hey, Walrus.
There's Mitch Gallagher,
Maybe that's it. Yeah, Mitch
and
Gallagher.
then there's Don Carr,
Yeah, oh
the
yeah,
guy that
Don.
played
Yeah,
in.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
always feel like
yeah,
guys like him, I was like, is that the dude that used to sing for Deep Purple? Is that the dude? I always think he's one of them guys, he
yeah.
looks like you've known him. So let me ask you, who's some of the interesting people you've met now in your travels? So you've met guitar players, I've seen some of your artists, I've seen some of your interviews, like Sweetwater and all that
Mhm.
stuff, but there's got to be somebody that stands out in your mind, like somebody you met, and you're just like, wow, this is really cool. Like this guy's interesting.
I think my favorite people are the people that my favorite people that I connect with are just like the normal cats. I've hung out with
That
people
that
that,
pedal show and all them
on
and
the cover of
Sweetwater.
Premier Guitar and all that kind of stuff. But some of my favorite people to hang out with are like Yvette Young is one of my favorites. She is super innovative and really kind, really just an encouraging, non-cynical person to be around. Um, because in music sometimes like just cynicism is cool, and it's actually a drug, and it feels terrible. Um,
Say it, brother.
uh,
Say it, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
So she's
serious.
great. There's another guy I like hanging out with, like his name's Tyler Burkham. He played in Audio Adrenaline for a long time. And then but now he plays for Need to Breathe. He's a good guy, just a good auxiliary player, lead player. He can do anything. Another guy love playing with, not playing with, I don't play with them. Let me be super clear. Nate Duggar. Nate Duggar's a good friend. He plays with Drew Holcomb
Oh, yeah.
uh, in
Cool.
the Neighbors. So, adult contemporary fun music. But that dude, so there's these guys that are like, they are the smartest people in the industry, but they have these gigs that support their, modest livelihood, and they're really content with that. But Nate is like a freaking, he can play anything. I mean, he's so good. Uh, Zandy Fitzgerald, from the New Respects.
I don't know that
Uh,
one.
so the New Respects is a band that you're going to look up after this.
You got it.
Yeah, it's two sisters and a brother and a cousin, and they freaking just rip.
Where are they from?
It's
What
just
area?
they're from Nashville, but they're Nashville native. They're not transplants.
They're
So
not Nash Vegas people.
you can feel that in their music. It's
Gotcha.
really, really good. Those are some of my favorite people. Corey Wong's a good friend.
That dude looks
Uh,
intense, man. I like his energy. He's like,
he yeah, we found him on accident. I think he was touring with Ben Rector, and so we're doing a meetup with Ben Rector, and Corey was on that tour, and we are like, "You're
Who's it?
how are you? Why are you playing with Ben Rector?" And he had some solo stuff out, and I looked it up when I went back to my but when I went home and I played it for my wife, and he had like 200 monthly listeners on Spotify, and
Really?
we were listening to stuff, and I was like, I feel like this guy is gonna be something big someday, and it didn't take that long. So
Yeah, he's kind of big. I like Wolfpack and all that stuff, man. It's all good
yeah,
stuff. I mean, I listen to everything from Schofield to Joey Landreth's one of my favorites, and
oh
and
dude, Joey's
yeah,
he's
uh,
amazing, and
unbelievable. And
yeah,
go ahead. You got him lined up yet?
yeah, we've worked with him on some stuff, um, but
He's a pedal freak,
yeah,
man. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, you
dude,
want to see
him,
pedal stuff? That dude knows his stuff, man. Doesn't
yeah,
he?
everybody from, yeah, he does. So, and Ariel Posen from that whole camp, he's great. Mason,
Unbelievable stuff.
yeah, Mason Stoops is my favorite guitar player though.
Why do I know that name?
So,
Who's that?
so Mason plays, he just plays around. He's in Southern California, so he plays on a lot of stuff. He's been with Scary Pockets. He's done some stuff with Wolfpack. He played
Yep.
with Jackson Brown
There you go.
for
Yep.
a while, and then most recently, he's the only guy who can replicate what Blake Mills did on Marcus
Um,
Mumford's record. So Blake Mills just basically vomited amazing guitar all over Marcus Mumford's record.
yeah.
Blake Mills doesn't want to go on tour, but Mason Stoops is the only guy that can do what Blake Mills did, and so he
Wow.
gets to he gets to play with Marcus Mumford and do all
And
that
you guys
stuff.
have
So
that one pedal that's like that sound kind of the projector thing, the projector
yeah, the 385.
385. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I haven't been able to play it yet. I've seen videos on it. It's pretty cool. I know some of the influence might not have been you're at a Dawes concert or something, and I think the
yeah,
Blake Mills thing all kind of feeds into that, right?
yeah. So heavily influenced by yeah. I mean, Dawes is one of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Blake Mills sounds from his solo stuff and just his influence over Taylor Goldsmith's setup and those kind of things.
So, Colt, what would you say is your most popular pedal that you guys either maybe it was before and it died off, or put you on the map, or it is right now? So, like, might be the same pedal that's carried on.
Yeah,
What's your
no,
most
it's
popular?
the Julia is
I
probably
was just looking at
is
that
the
one.
is kind of the one that kind of just keeps staying where it's at. And
Tell everybody
so
what that
it's
is.
a
I mean, I've looked it up and everything, and I'm
yeah,
trying to
it
get my
is
hands
a
on one right now.
it's a chorus and vibrato. So um and there it's a bucket brigade chorus,
There you go.
meaning it's the same basic parts that make up like a delay, and it's just manipulating the delay time and warping it a little bit, and so it kind of gives a wet chorusy sound. And then it's different because we've tried to mod it as much as we can to allow a lot of low end to still come through,
Okay.
which is the problem with a lot of vibrato pedals. You lose a lot of low end, and this one with the Julia you don't. And so it's kind of a organic chorusy sound with full frequency pass through. It's awesome.
I can't wait to try it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my hands on one soon here, man. I mean, even if I had
yeah.
to drive out and meet you, do you guys have a place there? Do you guys have an open area for customers to come in or not? Is it just shut down?
We are closed to the public, so
I
I'm a
know.
fake extrovert. Uh, Pretty introverted, and
Yeah.
so you can get here, but you got to like ring the doorbell and like knock on the door, and it like kind of looks dark and all that kind of stuff.
Play your guitar real loud outside with your Marshall stack. Come on.
No,
It
not
won't let
doing
me
that.
in.
We're not doing that.
Just kidding. So
Yeah,
yeah, I tried to see Zach from Mythos, and when I was in Nashville, my wife runs marathons for St.
yeah,
Jude and stuff, and we were out there for the last Nashville marathon, and we were messaging and stuff, and I was just like, he was like, oh, I'm trying to set up a whole little area of everybody to come in and like customers, just passing through, and that's why I asked, because you never know, somebody's in
yeah,
Oklahoma
yeah.
City Route 66 coming through, like I gotta see Colt. You know,
we have like a media room where we film all the stuff you see on YouTube. And so we do set stuff out there if people want to come by and try stuff.
cool.
So you are welcome to come. Yeah, I am
Come on, man.
invite.
I'll just be
Yeah,
a
you're
fly in the
welcome.
wall when you're shooting some stuff, man. Let me come out and just do a little videography. I'll just sit in the background
There you go.
yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of cool, man. So what,
Yeah.
so now trade shows, I got to ask you real quick. It's been a hot topic for a lot of people in the industry. I almost went to NAMM this year as an
Hmm.
influencer, and some guys in town, Drum World, Matt Donaldson and all them guys, they were just saying, man, you meet people, you can do it, it'll grow your YouTube. I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I got to fly out there, rent a car, get a hotel, I got to make products. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know, man. So what do you, I divulge here and just give it to you. How do you feel?
Hmm.
Maybe you don't want to mention them or whatever, but go ahead and just how do you feel about these types of shows now compared to like 20 years ago?
I feel good about them. I'm a big Nam fan. I'm a believer in Nam. I think it's fun for people to complain about Nam, but I think it's because they don't remember and realize that we all owe our careers and whatever we have, we owe it to Nam, whether we went there or not. Nam is such a it's the hub of the wheel, really, that that makes the whole music instruments industry grow, and especially in North America. And North America is 75% of the music instruments industry globally, anyway. And so it it's huge here. And so I'm a big NAM fan. It's going to bounce back. It's not going away. Um, there's nothing, you know. It's too big to fail. It's not as too big to fail, but it is too important to fail. And if it doesn't, then something else will replace it. That's what you saw, you know, if in Europe, you know, Music Messa was the huge, I mean, it was a huge show in Frankfurt. And they made some interesting business decisions to split the show up and recategorize it and try to make it a little bit more profitable, and ended up like biting them in the rear. And they pretty much lost the show uh, for the most part, as far as music instruments goes. It still works for pro audio and lighting, but music instruments is pretty much out on Music Messa. But what comes in its place is a show in Mannheim, an hour south, called Guitar Summit. And guitar, I don't know if you've heard of Guitar Summit, but it is growing really fast. And I've been two or three times, and it is a very well run show. It's very non-fatiguing, kind of like NAM is. So anyway, all that to say, if NAM dies, something will come up in its place. The industry needs connection and it needs community. Um, and but I'm rooting for NAM. I'm still gonna keep going, and you know, my dream is to be on the board someday. It is a little bit messy in the way that it's organized. As far as like if you're a manufacturer, if you're media, if you're a buyer, if you're a supplier, there's, you know, you kind of just have to depend on walking the floor and shaking hands, which feels a little bit old school, but there should be a better way to to be more efficient with the expense it takes to actually go there. So
Yeah,
yeah.
especially some of the companies, you know, their big gripe is that they bring in employees and they need to set up a whole stand and they got to get equipment there. And you know, I mean, America, when Europe, I love talking to my European guys when they come to America and they're like working down in Florida and they're like, my God, it's like I got to drive 8 hours to get to Georgia. You know, like they don't realize how big America is. So if you're a Northeastern company and you're trying to get to LA, you know what I mean, with like three trucks or something, you know what I mean, and people. And so yeah, the expenses becomes, you know, pretty high for that. But for guys like
Yeah.
me, I might have to jump in next year because, you know, I'm not afraid to put on a little backpack, right? Got my phone and just walk around and meet contacts or something, you know, and hand out
Yeah.
Walrus audio gift certificates, you know.
You don't have to do that. Yeah.
Just kidding.
But
I
yeah,
just
if you've never been, I mean, it's a good place to, in media gets in free. So
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I know. I
it's a
don't
good
need a
deal.
table or anything like that for my kind of stuff. So I'm thinking like, you know, go in there and just meet people. So that's good to hear. Now, you ever thought about doing anything in Oklahoma City, like maybe like a pedal convention thing or anything like that?
We've
Like, you
thought
know,
about it,
yeah,
but it's just like maybe when I retire, you know, I mean, that kind of stuff just takes a ton of energy, and it it would not be wise for me to take something like that on. But we have a really awesome convention center here And it's got a beautiful park next to it. We always dream about like this could be a great
Great
spot to
place.
host something like that. But
Yeah, and you could bring in like Kansas JHS, and you can bring up like
yeah,
Texas stuff like Dave Grissom playing with
yeah. Well,
PRS. You can bring it all together, man.
yeah,
You
actually,
know,
Old Blood Noise does host something um around in the early winter that is kind of like a pedal expo, pedal market. I think it's called the Effector Market. And
really, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Okay,
Brady's really good at bringing at those kind of things, bringing the community together and getting everybody in the same room. And
so do you go to it
it
then and
was,
take it?
yeah, I did. It was, I mean, I was sitting in the room with like, Joel Cordy from Chase Bliss and Brady and a bunch of Earthquaker guys. And I mean, kind of when you get in the same room, we're like, man, these people are so smart. This is so fun. So
I love your
it
attitude, Colt. You got a good
it's
attitude,
pretty
buddy.
cool, man.
You got a
It's
good
pretty
attitude.
cool.
Do you have any advice for anybody, as we're winding down the show, like for somebody either that maybe they want to mess around with pedals and mod? Do you have any advice, any business advice for young guys out there if they're interested in this? What's the deal, man?
Yeah, I think I think if for people are designing pedals and wanting to do that, um I anything that you design, um I think making sure that it is really great is very important.
Hmm.
Good
Interesting.
good enough is okay, but making something really great. And it doesn't have to be totally innovative. It just has to be really good. You can get innovative, create, you can make design the microcosm if you want to. Uh, but but just a great fuzz and a great over people are always looking for just different flavors of the same thing. That's why sock companies keep starting up, you know? If sock companies, if there
I
are
love
new
it.
sock companies, there can always be new pedal companies. So just
I love it.
let it rip, you know.
Yeah, man, that'd be a great title for the episode. You want to start sock companies?
People do it. I put on some new socks the other day. I was like, this is a
I always
good
find it interesting. I'm the
sock.
same size as Shaquille O'Neal, man, because it's like size 6 to 13. I'm like, what? Like, what
Yeah,
am I? Like, anyways, don't get me going on that.
yeah,
I'll mess you up with that. But so
that's
as we're
great.
wrapping up here too, like, do you want to give a shout out to anybody, man? Is there somebody you want to say hey to?
No, you're my shout out.
Oh
I'm
man,
glad I got to be on the show,
come on,
man.
Guitars Oklahoma, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
We're
And
based out of
listen, and
Owasso.
anybody, yeah, I've only I went to Owasso during track in high school. So it's the only time I was there. And so I've only seen the high school track, but I loved it. It was great. I'm sure I did terrible. And yeah, what's up to all my Tulsa people? I love
Oh,
them.
the T-Town,
So
baby, right? You,
all of
yeah,
T-Town,
man. I know,
T-Town.
buddy. And as I'm walking around, man, I got my pedal board. I'm playing in different places. Now I've got the monument on there. I think I'm gonna try Julia,
Julia. Yeah,
Julia. Gotta make sure. Yeah, because I was just checking.
yeah,
It sounds like something I'd be interested in, big guy. I think that's the
yeah.
thing, man. So hey, man,
Dig
I
it.
appreciate you coming on the show and donating your time and all that. And I'll put everything in the links and the show notes, buddy. And we'll see what happens, right?
Dig it. Cool. Well, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you. This is
All right,
awesome.
cool. All right, man. I'll talk to you next time, and I'll shoot you an email or something and let you know when the episode's out. Okay, big guy.
Sounds good.
Thanks,
See you.
buddy.
Thank you.
See ya.
Appreciate you. Bye.
Peace.